So we're gonna get started today, and the genesis of this, because we, as Michael knows, we don't give a fuck. We just say what we want to say, right? So
Facts.
Heard.
come cancel me, it's fine.
Right.
Okay, so Joshua texted me and asked me, had we talked about the BG situation, and and in my early morning haze, I was like, "Who the fuck is BG?" I had no idea what he was talking about. I'm just keeping it real, right? I'm keeping
Yeah.
it real.
Yeah.
And Joshua told me Brittney Griner, and I said, no, me and Bryce have not talked about Brittney Griner on the Hardwood Nation podcast, just due to us not covering the WNBA. But it is a huge issue. So, with that said, Joshua and Mike, if you guys want to just take turns giving us a brief rundown of what's going on, and then we'll get into this. I have seen some of the social aspect. Then we'll get into the social aspect of why or why not she's not home.
All right, so Mike, you want to go? I mean, again, we can start off with the real layman's terms of things. So, long story short, she was over there for about 6 or 7 years playing basketball for one of the Russian teams over there. So, being a respectable citizen over there, playing ball, things all good until she brought drugs up in there in the form of a cart. They caught her, and as we know, Russian laws are not American laws, and a lot of things are very tight over there right now, being because of a war and whatever you want to go off of. So, not the best time to do that type of thing. So, she kind of, unfortunately, she walked into that type of deal knowing what was up. So she got caught, and now there's a whole "Bring Brittney Home" campaign going on the social side of things. And I know everybody likes to compare. Oh, if Trump got Jello out of China, Joe Biden could get, Brittney out of it. It's not the same situation. And plus, there wasn't a war going on. The relationship between the two countries are not the same. So that's, I think, the biggest points that people need to realize here. And again, I even me at the beginning was all like, oh, yeah, he could do it. He's the president. But as you start to dig into the facts of things and really see what's going on, it is not looking good, hasn't looked good, and is not looking any better for her in that situation. So, Mike, I don't know if you had any points on that before I keep going on it, really.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's going to be over there at least until December after her trial. The unfortunate side is that because of those type of situations where it was like Trump would have brought her back, what is Biden doing types of, to me, that's just more division. It's a more reason for us to be politically divided as people, right? And it divides the sports nation even more, and that's how to me, that's how they target certain demographics, whether it's sports people, whether it's political, etc. It all ends up tying together, right? So because of that type of energy and the effort that was to bring her back, she said, fuck it, I'm just going to plead guilty. So she pled guilty to the charge. Not that she didn't do it. I mean, she got caught with the cartridge, right? So, I mean, really, it's kind of like you were guilty. But the unfortunate side is that there really was not a lot of effort to do anything for it. But I get why. I mean, we are sitting here, and I believe it's, from my side, I believe that it's a political type holding as well. It's being used as like an opportunity for a high platform to say, hey, we've got one of your coveted athletes over here. Guess what? We're going to do whatever we can to keep her over here. And it's stopping her from making her money. She was over there overseas playing for, those national teams because she wasn't even getting paid enough over here, right? A lot of those WNBA players were like, hey, we're going to go play overseas because we get paid 10 times more, right? So it was just unfortunate the situation was what it was. But, I think that it's been blown up because that focus is of the effort side of it, which is unfortunate because, like I said, there's some facts here that need to be paid attention to, but there's also some emotional side as well. But when it comes down to law, you're supposed to be looking at facts, period. So it's just unfortunate overall.
What you got, Bryce?
I pretty much agree with these guys for the most part. The problem is, it seems like they're asking for some real dangerous shit in return, like basically an arms dealer. And I think if this was a normal time, I don't even think she would have gotten arrested because I think, like Josh said, they've been going over there forever playing this or doing this for these teams. These oligarchs are the ones I think pretty much funding everything there. And so I think they had like a deal. You could pretty much come over here and do whatever you wanted to do. You were kind of like a famous athlete over here. We were paying you to come here. She was probably just used to doing it in the past and never really having issues or something like that, I would imagine. And so this just being right before the war started, I think just is what makes it a different ball game altogether. And I think if it wasn't going on, it wouldn't have happened. And I think we could have gotten her back probably pretty easily. But I think there's another element here that we can't really speak on. It's more of like the government level where they have to make a deal and feel comfortable. And even though she's a high profile athlete, she's still like a civilian. It's not a military. Like, we're not getting an arms dealer back, nothing like that equivalent, even though we're not supposed to have shit like that going on anyways. But
we do.
Of course.
I'm not even saying it's like something I've seen this, but I believe there's like an underlying racial tone to it, just based on some tones and attitudes I've seen. Because to make the argument that we've been talking about here so far is like pretty level-headed and reasonable. And so I think you see some more outrageous takes on the internet, and then that brings out the other side on the opposite direction. And I've just seen like people are really good at hiding it, but I can tell from their tones and attitudes that like maybe if this was a different athlete or a different person altogether, I'm talking like maybe white instead of black or mixed, maybe you would see more, at least motivation from the other side of people speaking out on it. Like I said, I'm not even sure if that's right or wrong. It's just I know how these situations can get piggybacked, made political, and made racial, and I think any chance that people do that, it's kind of disgusting. Whether or not it's for the good or for the bad, you know what I mean? It's just like that. I don't think that's what this situation is, but I can't help but feel that kind of vibe off certain people. Like no one specific, but it's just like when you've been around it your whole life, you kind of know that like there's something else going on here. And like I said, sometimes it's pretty gross. But I'm not saying that's happening. I'm just saying it's a vibe I picked up on. And whether or not we think they should do whatever to get her home or think that they can or cannot, I don't think we need to bring in these other aspects to it because it just muddies the waters.
Well, you bring up a good point. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut in here real quick, but I know I made my points here. But Bryce, you made a good point in regards to that, and that's where I was kind of going with the division side, because it always breaks down to where it's funny, like a lot of situations that we see, whether when it's on television, for instance, it all boils down to racial division at some point, right? So you could be reading those undertones correctly, because the easiest way to divide all four of us on here from their perspective is race, right? That's the easiest way to divide anybody. And so when that happens, you're going to throw something like this in there. Then you get, what do you do with the LGBTQ community, right? Stuff like that, because there's laws protecting LGBTQ people now, and it's like, well, what are we doing? So it's interesting the way that the narrative continues to go and continues to change, and the things that are derived from it. So one thing that you brought up, and I don't know if Josh recollects this as well, but I think that part of what was going on as far as any of the negotiations at one point when they had Brittney detained, we had, I think, 2 Russian war spies held up. So they wanted those in return to bring her home. And it's like, hey,
and we hit them with sanctions. We had hit them with economic sanctions that they were still trying to get around. So there was a lot of drama going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically trying to get leverage on each other. Whereas, like, the China situation a while back, even though it's not like we get along great with them, it's not like we were at like funding someone that they were at war with. It wasn't that crazy. Right now it's just a crazy time for Russia to deal with anybody, let alone us.
Yeah.
On top of the fact there's 40 other Americans they're still trying to get out of the same exact situation. So let me just paint the social picture here, right? Brittney is fast figuring out that she is not as important as she thinks she is. And it sucks to say that. It really does, because I would like her home. I think she's an American. Everybody should want her back. this is where the divide happened, and Bryce hit it right on the nail with the racial deal. When Brittney came out and said she disowns being an American and all this, that during the Trump deal, everybody kept that in the back of their minds, and now she's in a situation, and now I'm telling you, like, so over at Dot of View, sometimes we go into True Social to talk to some people and stuff. I have my thoughts about that app, whatever. But I know that they like to go in there and do that too. I can't be on there more than 5 minutes. But they really are like, nope, you put yourself in that situation. Nope, figure it out. Nope, you didn't want to be an American. So that whole other side is like, screw it. She put herself in that situation where it's like, yo, this is an American. Like, come on. Like, at the end of the day, but the timing of it is awful. Like Mike said, the two spies, right? We're hit them with sanctions. We're funding their enemies. They got that whole Russia-Ukraine deal is so deep. It is not even funny. So for us even being in there and meddling with that, it's not even. So yeah, she just kind of got caught up at a really bad time.
Yep.
I want to add something. I know historically Russia has been against LGBT as well. Historically. So you have the racial component, and then you have the sexual orientation component. And just to put a cap on it, one, this is great shit, by the way, but just to put a cap on it, and please, God, don't take offense to what I'm saying here, but I think we would probably have a different outcome if she was blonde, blue-eyed, straight. I think we would have a different outcome.
Okay? Yeah,
now,
I do too.
We're just gonna leave it at that.
I think at the very least there would be more of a pouring of support from people.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Whether or not we actually got anybody home, because I think that's a bigger thing right now. But you would have people reaching out more or talking about it more. That's without it.
She looked like Gabby Petito. She'd probably be on the plane coming back home right now.
Hey, it's possible. It's definitely possible.
There's an argument to be made there.
We are going to get into this, and I'm actually going to start with Bryce. Bryce, how shocked are you that we got comments based on something that you actually predicted would happen as far as our commentary on the Brittney Griner situation? So how shocked are you that it happened?
I was a little surprised because I don't really think people listen to us and take us all that seriously, to be honest with you. So that's a little new for me. We're not that big yet, so I thought that was hilarious. I'm not surprised that someone was upset though, because like I said, that's out there. And for that guy to get upset meant there's something that touched home for him specifically. And that he called you a blackie. Oh my God. I couldn't believe that shit. I couldn't believe that shit.
I can.
You see his face? This is no fucks given, right? For what anybody says about me. Joshua, I'm going to throw it to you. How shocked were you with some of the feedback that we received?
Not at all shocked. I know the internet is a crazy place, man. They were waiting for that. You say anything political against anybody's views and they will arm up in, digital guns. So, it's just the name of the game. That's just the way it goes. You say something that someone else disagrees with, they're going to hide behind the screen and say, whatever they feel they can't say that they couldn't say in public,
Right.
That's the way it goes, man. I don't. That's not even that offensive. That's not even the worst thing I've heard. Like blackies, like you couldn't come better than that, or the guideline probably kept you in some sort of whatever. I don't know. I felt that was a little uncreative. I felt like they could have came a little bit harder than that, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
Mike, before I throw it to you, Mike, I want everybody to know Joshua has not had the pleasure to do a podcast with Kevin yet. I begged and pleaded with Kevin to have him on today, but he had a family trip he was going on, so Kevin could not be on. So my first attack dog couldn't help us out today, but I'm about to unleash my second attack dog, Michael.
All right, so if anybody noticed that's watching this, I was in there responding to some of these people, right? And I usually try and take a high road with it as much as possible, but I do like to push buttons. And The most ridiculous response that we got was literally right there. And it's the one that we've been talking about. It says, damn, blackies are the most racist people on earth. For one, okay, so in my response, John Doe, if you're going to say something like that, show who you are. Don't hide behind an anonymous fucking name, pussy. But, period. I hate that shit. I hate that shit. If you're going to say something, own it. Be who you are, right? And that's what I said in there. So I apologize for the language there, but that shit just pisses me off sometimes. But when you've got something like that, it contradicts. It's a contradictive statement. Damn, blackies are the most racist people on earth. Well, for one, you know what? You saying something like that kind of flips that and makes you the racist person. That's what's funny about that type of shit. As far as some of the responses, we had a couple of good ones. Like, I mean, that were decent. But you did see a couple of the ones that were not necessarily called for. It kind of shows that closed-mindedness. So the things that Bryce was kind of calling out, it's right there in front of us, and all we did is just present information that we have found. That's all we did. We have nothing to do with the situation. So why does it have to go that far with the needle on either side? That's the funny thing for me when it comes to this. So media pokes the bear. And a lot of times we do it just so we can go ahead and get that response. Like that's the funny thing. No publicity is bad publicity. So hey, say what you're gonna say. You might as well own it, because guess what? We got the view and the response, period, regardless.
Oh yeah.
So you're helping us out, period.
Got a couple subscribers out of there, a couple likes. Show got pushed around a little bit more, so you didn't do anything but help.
Exactly. So you might as well own who you are. Put your name out there, and you know what? I'll challenge that person, whoever that John Doe is person. Respond to me. Let's have a conversation.
Hey, Mike, tell them to meet you in Temecula. Remember that?
You can say that.
That's the throwback right there.
Yeah.
Josh, before we move on real quick, I want you to shout out Doubted Views.
Yes, sir. So, like always, I know this week we're a little bit low, but you can catch me and Mike on Finance Fridays. You can catch the whole crew on Mondays. We got some new stuff coming Wednesday, but Doubted Views, we got pretty much headlines, finance, sometimes sports, entertainment. We pretty much talk it all, man. So you can show up and show out.
I caught you guys live the other day, and I was watching for like 10 minutes or so, and it was like definitely appealing. Like I was sitting there watching it, and I have interest in this shit anyway, and so listening to you guys talking about it, like bring the energy and just the knowledge, it was really good. So yeah, you guys keep that shit going. It was impressive, I thought.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you much.
Thank you. Appreciate you liked it.
All right, so Bryce, we're going to put a cap on this segment. Was there any last thoughts you have on the truth that you dropped last week, and then the responses that we got?
I just think it's funny, like, people people really jumped the gun, man. Like if you watch that video, none of us said anything outrageous. We just brought what we thought was happening in like pretty moderate opinion. I thought like pretty like nothing extreme, and then it's just the fact that for some people the politics and the race is so polarizing that they can't help themselves. So I just, like I said, we didn't say anything crazy, and the people that have a problem with it, they seem to be the problem. So people need to take a look at themselves before they start getting online and commenting.
I also keep in mind that there's internet trolls out there. That could have been a whole goal for that individual, is to rile something up or whatever it may be. But regardless, like I said, thanks for the view.
Yeah, help the channel.
All right.
We had a good week, to say the least. We had a really good week.
It was fun.
Hey, as always, please like, subscribe, and share our content.
Oh, they probably will. They did. They'll probably keep doing it.
Oh, yeah. So we had a Brittney Griner update this week. So I'm going to let Mike and Joshua kind of get into that a little bit. Fellas, what do you think about what we saw as far as Biden offering this package and then Russia countering the package?
Josh, you want to touch that first?
Well, I'm going to say, I said it in Texas this week. I was like, yo, Biden's showing some of these GMs how to get a trade done. But then actually, now that we got the update going, I'm like, oh, okay, hold on. Looks like Russia's trying to – okay, so what I think is going on here Because now they're not going for citizens like regular, like Brittney Griner is an athlete, right? They're not saying, yeah, we want, another citizen that y'all got over there, that's just in the same deal. No, the arms dealer was the first one. And now they want, hold on, wait, I'm going to get this right. So the Russian government requested former colonel from the country's domestic spy agency who was convicted of a murder in Germany, right? Yep. Victor Bout. This is like, so no, that was the arms dealer. I'm sorry.
That was the arms dealer.
Yeah. So they're not asking for citizens. So I feel like Russia is playing off of the whole like bring her home tour, and they're really milking it. Like they're like, oh yeah, your people really want it back. So yeah, give us the spy back. Now they're putting Biden in a position like, whoa, hold on, what? So now he may be getting finessed out of this thing. I don't know, man. It's looking real bad. It's looking real bad now because now he's like hard pressed to get her back, and Russia just keeps throwing in extra clauses in the trade. Like, nah, we want so and so. Nah, we want so and so. Yeah, you gotta make that happen. And it's like I said, these are not normal people. These are like spies. These are actually
right. Yeah, I mean, to me, that shows trade value, I guess. I mean, shit. If you need a previous spy, and you need a convicted murderer, weapons dealer. Like, come on now, like that's high trade value. Like,
I think Putin asked the Nets how to do trades, and they're like, let's just ask for everything.
Hey, you might as well. You know what? When you have the negotiating power, you might as well use it as much as possible. So good point. Like I agree. Like the MLB trade deadline is coming up right on August 2nd. Everybody wants to know where Juan Soto's going. That took a backseat because now we want to see what's happening with Brittney Griner, and is she being traded for two dangerous individuals, right? Although I will tell you this. This is a good opportunity. The side name in this though is Paul Whelan. He's been held captive in Russia for quite some time, and this is an opportunity for us to get him back as well. But I can tell you, neither him nor Brittney Griner, I don't think, as far as what they can mean to that trade, means more than Victor Bout and the other individual that was involved. Like we're kind of like saying, yeah, here's your opportunity to go ahead and just plan an attack with us if you want. You really think that Victor Bout isn't going to want to do anything? Like, we've been holding him captive for a little while here. Like, come on now, guys. Wow. Like, this is it could get dangerous. It could get dangerous.
Yeah. Thank you for that update. And Bryce, thank you for the Nets reference. Because it seems like they are holding us hostage for multiple draft picks and everything else, right?
So just to set the stage, for the last couple of weeks, we've had Joshua and Mike, formerly of Hardwood, on here breaking down this Brittney Griner situation. So I definitely wanted to hear your opinion for two things. You're a proud American and you're a veteran. Kevin, go ahead and shoot.
I think it's all a bunch of just political nonsense, propaganda, stupidity, whatever you want to call it. That's what it is. Because like, I'm just going to jump right into it. I know you wanted to hold off a little bit, but I read some of the comments and stuff that you guys were getting just for your takes on all this stuff. And people are ignorant about the process about which is going on right now. It's not about the drug laws for another country or anything like that. They found one small little thing that they could grabbed her on it because they knew she was a name in this country. She's a professional athlete. She had her say about things that were going on in this nation and all of that stuff. And they grabbed her as not really a war criminal, but they grabbed her as like she's a big, gigantic bargaining chip now. That's all she is. That's all Brittney Griner is a big, gigantic bargaining chip. Look, the biggest thing is she's a professional athlete. Not that she's black, not that she's white. If a white person would have went over there and they were a professional athlete and they had weed on them, they would have done the same exact thing just for their leverage of trying to get their people back. This is what it's all about. This is a big, gigantic political nonsense that people have turned into a black and white thing, that people have turned into just a woman thing. It's all nonsense. If you look into it deeply, all it is about is political nonsense and them trying to get back a war criminal for a basketball player and a guy that we've had stuck over there for however long he's been stuck over there. I will tell you one thing, though. If any other person would have been in the White House, she would have already been home, because these people aren't scared of our president right now. These people look at him as a pushover, and they're trying to milk whatever they can out of him and out of all the people that we got in power, just so we can bring her back home, just so they look good.
Right. It was when the story first started, like, me and Bryce didn't cover it at all, and Joshua sent me a text and said, "Hey, have you guys talked about this?" And I said, "No." And so he offered to come on and talk about it. And him and Michael did a fantastic job for the 2
they
weeks
did.
that they were on. I mean, just fucking fantastic. When I first started hearing about it, it was from the standpoint of the disparity between NBA players and WNBA players as far as their salary. And I just dismissed that argument. I'm like, I don't want to hear about that. The girls didn't necessarily go over there just for money. They had been going over there since like the 70s and 80s, because we didn't have a professional women's league in the United States until 1996. So they would go to Russia, they would go to South and Central America to continue their careers after college. That was the genesis of the girls going over there. So I dismissed that argument altogether. We know the WNBA doesn't make as much money as the NBA, therefore the salaries will never be the same. That's nobody's fault.
Nope.
Then we got into the political aspect of it, and I'm like, okay, it might be something there. You know, Russia's holding our hands to the fire, trying to get some stuff back. I'm like, okay, I can go with that. Then we got into the racial component, and I'm like, okay, I do agree that I do think there's some of that to it. And Bryce was the first one that brought it to me. He's like, Cam, I'm seeing some racial stuff here. And I said, okay, well, if you feel comfortable about it, we can talk about it on the podcast, which we did. And then we had the comments hit, and it just validated what Bryce said. So I thought it was hilarious. I thought the whole thing was hilarious.
Oh, when I read the comment, I went back. You told me yesterday or the day before, go read some of this stuff. And I read some of. I'm like, the ignorance of some Americans that we have it. Like, you can see the divide in this country about any little thing,
right?
Because they automatically go, look here. You're not allowed to call somebody racist and then call somebody a blackie. I'm sorry, you can't do it, because then guess what that does to you, you imbecile? That shows how racist you are. Ignorance is bliss in some people. That guy must be living the most blissful life I've ever seen out of anybody in this world, because that is the most ignorant thing that I've ever seen. And guess what, Mr. John Doe? If you want to say anything to anybody, you could definitely come say it to me. because I'll put you in your place. I'll let you explain where you're coming from, and then I'll put you in a place that you needed to be coming from. Because that, my friend, was the most ignorant statement anybody has ever made. You can't go. That's like going, I'm not racist, but as soon as you put the but in there, guess what?
Hey.
You're racist, dog.
It was great. I even posted. I joined the Hardwood Nation joined True Social at his exception, but I never posted anything on it. So Joshua was like, "You might want to check it out, but you might not like it." I was like, "Well, let me give it a shot." So I posted some stuff on True Social just to see, just to rile some people up. We are a basketball podcast. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes sports and politics intersect. So we're going to talk about it. But yeah, it was the last couple of weeks have been great, been fantastic for our YouTube channel. And I'm going to jump on, Joshua hosts the Doubted Views podcast. I'm going to jump on there one day soon. But Do you think, considering the very small amount of whatever it was THC she had in the vape cartridge, do you think, despite the fact that she did break a law, do you think the 9 years was extremely excessive and for political gain only?
Yes, it's for political gain. The whole thing from her getting arrested for having that little bit amount of THC on her to all the way up until the sentence to everything that happened in between is all political. It is all a political shit show, as I like to call it. That's all they're doing. Everything is for political gain and political pushback. Russia was stupid for going and invading the other country. They did that because there's nobody with testicles that are holding them back from doing anything. The only person, and I'm saying it, it'll piss people off. I don't care. I'm not a big fan of his at all. But the only reason why they haven't done all this shit that they're doing before is because Donald Trump was in office. There, I said it, but you can get on me all you want to, but it's the damn truth. The dude was in office, shit like this wouldn't be happening. Because people were scared shitless that this dude was so crazy that if anybody did something stupid, Donald would go off on them.
Yeah.
People were scared that Donald had such an itchy trigger finger that if they did anything, anybody did anything in this world, or that he had somebody in his back pocket, that they would do nothing to do anything to go against the United States. Now you don't have that guy there that anybody is remotely afraid of. They're not afraid of the guy who can't even spit out a sentence correctly. He has to read the teleprompter and he reads it again for some odd reason. I don't know what he's doing. But that's the big, gigantic thing. Nobody's scared of this dude. They're going to milk as much out of America as they can just to get her back. Because now it's turned into such a media-driven, and it's in the public now that everybody is like, you need to get her back, 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 that they're going to do whatever they have to do to get her back. So now Russia just won because they did it that way.
Yeah, we're about to get ass raped as far as what they're going to try to get back, which we talked about, an arms dealer, some other killer that we have that they want.
Yeah,
back,
we ain't got Pat Riley trying to do this trade. We got Joe Biden trying to do the trade.
Yeah, so this is going to be pretty bad.
We got a shitty GM. We ain't getting back no draft picks.
Yeah, man. Just like Bryce said, Russia's like the Nets right now, trying to get everything they can get.
Yeah, Russia's like the Nets. I just thought about it too. They're trying to stay. We're trying to get a skinny power forward back from Russia, and we ain't got nothing to really send back. Yeah. No. We haven't offered Jaylen Brown up yet.
I don't know if you saw our segment on that, but that was pretty hilarious too.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Yeah, the Celtics are like, what are you guys doing? Okay, what are you guys doing?